Hello there, I just wanted to do a quick video on regarding the last PR that I merged. It was a major refactor to introduce the Backend package. So the Backend package is a package that will, it will Go programmer will be able to import this package directly into their app and have the full static backend building blocks without having to self-host a backend API. To reach that, I needed to do a lot of refactoring. So if you contributed so far to the project, you will see that there is a lot of things that I've changed, mostly in the internal package. So the internal package is now way more internal, if I can say that. There's not much in there, and I've created a package called model. So this is mostly what was inside the internal package before. So the reason I've moved them there is that now this backend package needed, it needed to export lots of those model, in fact. So yeah. Let's have a quick look at what is the impact of this backend package, for example. So this package is going to be imported, so we will need to take care of making sure that when we add functionalities to the core or to the API, in fact, that this package will also have a way to expose that. The majority of the services are exposed directly via exported variable. So for instance, the cache and even the database is exposed directly, because it's still valuable to expose the database. But yeah, let's continue. So this package have multiple exported variable which will be properly initialized based on the config that we receive. So one thing to keep in mind is that I've created this database type, which is a generic type, which helps with having a better experiences when importing this Go package. Instead of working with map of string any or interface, we can work on a more strongly type approach. So in the unit test, I've created a type called task, for example, and this is how one would interact with a more strongly type approach. So we grab a collection of a type task, and now this DB will have all the CRUD and query functionality, but it will return strongly type variable instead of maps. So I think I think it it is comfortable, to be honest. I like that a lot. One thing to keep in mind though is that this will have an impact on when we add functionality to this persister interface, and especially functionalities that relates to database. So at this moment, there is a GitHub issue that talked about creating a count function for the database. So this count function, it would return an int64. So let's it would be like count with with the authentication, the collection, and whatnot, maybe some filters, but this thing would return an int64 and an error. So by the fact that it returns an int64, it does not need to be implemented or added to this this database this database generic type, because it does not return or accept any of a type. So that would be fine. I mean, we would not need to do that. But for other function that would, you know, returns or accept in their parameter a type, yeah, then yes, creating new functionalities in the database would involve adding that to the persister interface and implementing and creating the test in in each database sub package for each database engine, memory, Mongo, and Postgres. And finally, well, adding the endpoint as well, adding the endpoint in the server.go. And also, finally, making sure that this database in the backend package also exports this new function. So that is something to keep in mind. Another important thing is there is lots of structure that are shared across the application that changed name, for example. So previously we had the name token for user. So it has been replaced with a user struct. So that, you know, and all the reference to the internal dot token, for example, were, well, all the internals were moved to model. And yes, the other important changes that, you know, for existing contributor is that the base config was also renamed to database config. So I think in terms of naming, there has been a couple of improvements. Also in the in the persister interface. I think it's clearer now. I'm using the word tenant for the customer, in fact. So since StaticBackend is a multi-tenant application by default, so it has a tenant and a tenant as a database. So I think those changes will help a little bit in the future. So, and also all the function in the persister that was related to token, they have been renamed with the user suffix. So I think you know, for instance, that was called find root token before. So yeah, so token is now renamed to user. Make more sense. There is a lots of refactoring to do still. If we take a look at the membership handlers, for example, so the direction from now is that the endpoint will still try to be as minimal as possible, and they will leverage the backend package. So we are going to use the backend package as well from the internal application. So the goal is to have this package to be, you know, 100% static backend, in fact. So if if a user is going to use it from a self-hosted point of view, you know, and or importing the package, they would need to have almost the same experience. So that's why we will from now on we will try to keep the web handlers very, very light in code and move all the business logic and all, you know, yeah, all the processing inside this backend package, so it can be reused. So yeah, that will be the direction from now. I think I think it's a nice addition, and to be frank, I think the way this this generic structure works, it makes things, I would say, very comfortable to work with generic types directly in this manner. All right, so that's it. So I hope to see you in Discord, and don't hesitate if you want to contribute to StaticBackend. It's a nice project, growing slowly, but it's growing in the right direction, I think. And this major refactor hopefully will make things a little bit easier. All right.